What's going on, guys? It's Zach here, bringing you guys another fantasy football video. So I'm going to be going over my optimal draft strategy in a standard 12-team league, full PPR scoring. If you have picks 7 through 9, this will be me finally sort of getting around to finishing up my optimal draft strategy series. I've already put out videos going over the best approach, in my opinion, if you have picks 1 through 3, as well as picks 4 through 6. So if you have one of those picks, feel free to go watch those videos. I think they'll be really helpful for you guys. If you have picks 7 through 9 on your draft, this is going to be the video for you. And then tomorrow I'll be putting out the video going over what you should do with picks 10 through 12 as well. So if that's your pick, stay tuned for tomorrow and you'll get that one as well. But you can obviously watch this one as well. It might be helpful just to sort of see how things vary and how things stay the same depending on where you're picking. So yeah, a lot of fun making these videos. I think it's really important to go into your drafts with some sort of plan, some sort of general structure, knowing how you want to approach the draft and really knowing how to really capitalize on values as they present themselves and sort of understanding what the best approach is as things come to you. So yeah, with that, let's just get into round one here. So in round one, I think you should take any one of these three players being Tyreek Hill, Bijan Robinson, and Stephon Diggs. I personally would take them in that order, but you're more than welcome to mix those around. If any of the standard top 6 players are available, those top 6 being Christian McCaffrey or Austin Eckler at the running back position, or any of the top 4 wide receivers, those being Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, and Tyreek Hill, or Travis Kelce, I mean, not Tyreek Hill. If any of those top 6 are available, I think you should absolutely take them. This does include Kelce. I don't generally find myself taking Kelce in the top 6 picks, but if I can get him in the latter half of the first round, I think it's a really good pick, and I think you should definitely capitalize on that. So if any of the top 6 players are still available, you should take them, but otherwise you should take one of those 3 players that I had listed here. So in round 2, I think that if you drafted a wide receiver or a running back in round 1, I do definitely prefer to target the wide receiver position in round 2. It's just a little bit too early for me to be getting 2 running backs in the draft, given how many values there are for me later on that I really do love at the running back position, and I don't want to put myself in a spot where I feel like I have to take wide receiver because I'm going to like the running back values later. So at the wide receiver position, my favorite picks to pick in round 2 would be A.J. Brown, Davante Adams, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave. It's a bit of a reach for Olave, but I do actually have him ranked ahead of Garrett Wilson this season, and you won't get him in round 3, so if you are sold on him, obviously just take the best wide receiver available for you. Those are just the guys that I would have an eye on. If you drafted a wide receiver in round 1, however, I think you should just target the best running back available. Unless either Stephon Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, or Davante Adams make it to you, it's highly unlikely that either one of those 3 wide receivers make it back to you, but I just want you guys to understand that if you drafted a wide receiver in round 1, that doesn't mean that you can't take the value there if they make it to you. Running backs that I would like to target in round 2 include Nick Chubb. If he makes it to you, it's pretty tough to see him make it to the middle of the second round like this, but if he does, he's definitely an auto pick for me. I also really like the value of Tony Pollard. Josh Jacobs is a bit of a quality pick as well. There's still some concerns surrounding his holdout, but it does sound like he'll be returning to the team pretty soon. And Derrick Henry is another option you could pick, although I don't find myself taking Derrick Henry very, very often here just because I personally am a little bit concerned about his age, and I would rather be a year early than a year late in terms of giving up on him. If you drafted a tight end, that being Travis Kelce in round 1, then just take the best player available, however you want to rank it. I would just not really worry too much about the position because you don't have a wide receiver or a running back at this point, so just take the best player on the board for yourself. Round 3 for me is pretty easy. If Mark Andrews is available, and assuming you didn't take Travis Kelce in round 1, Mark Andrews is going to be an auto pick for me here. I think it's pretty likely that he makes it to you. He generally goes in around the middle of the 3rd round, so this is a perfect spot to be taking him, and honestly, I love taking him here. He'd be a guaranteed pick for me. On top of that, if any of the top 3 quarterbacks, those being Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Jalen Hurts, make it to you here in round 3, those will be auto picks for me as well. I would prefer to take Mark Andrews over those 3, so I'd lean that way if they happen to both be available somehow, but generally, you're only going to have one or the other available if they are, so just take whichever one of those players is available. Assuming that all the quarterbacks and Mark Andrews are gone, then if you don't have a running back yet, it is about time to grab one. I would target guys like Ramondre Stevenson, Jahmyr Gibbs, or Joe Mixon, and if you have one running back even, I would definitely target the wide receiver position. I don't want to get 2 running backs yet this early. There are wide receivers that you can get here that I do really like. Chris Olave could potentially make it to you there, as could Devonta Smith and T. Higgins. If neither of them make it to you, then taking Calvin Ridley or Amari Cooper here is a perfectly fine thing to do as well. I would just plan to take the best wide receiver on the board in this slot just because generally I don't want to be drafting 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds right now. Next up in round 4, if you don't have a quarterback yet, it's definitely time to be looking at Justin Herbert. It is a little bit early to be taking him. We normally see his ADP towards like the back end of the 4th round, but you're not going to be able to get him in the 5th, obviously. You'd be picking it like near the end, middle of the end of the 5th round, and he is the best quarterback on the board at this point, so if you want him here, I would definitely be taking him. If you have 0 running backs at this point, I would highly recommend that you do take the best running back on the board. There's still plenty of great values at this point, guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, plenty of guys that I really think have a lot of upside this season and guys that I'm happy with as my running back 1. So take one of those guys if you don't have a running back yet. Otherwise, there's some really great running back values that I do love later. So if you even have one running back, again, I would sort of punt on the running back position one more time. Take a guy like Keenan Allen, Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley, Amari Cooper. Take the best wide receiver available. Give yourself that second or even third wide receiver before we get that second running back, just because there are some really great running back values in rounds 5, 6, and 7, and I really want to be targeting those later on. So next up in round 5, if for whatever reason you still don't have a running back yet, maybe there were just values that presented themselves in Kelsey in the first round, the quarterback made it to you in the third round, and you have 2 wide receivers at this point, then you do need to take a running back in round 5. I don't want to be leaving round 5 without a running back, so take the best running back available. James Conner, Alexander Mattison, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins are all really great picks for me. I personally have them ranked in that order, but I think they're all perfectly good picks, and you can certainly just choose whichever one you want there. Even if you have one running back at this point, I am pretty happy taking another running back here in round 5. In 3 wide receiver leagues, though, I would still lean towards drafting my third wide receiver before drafting my second running back. So wide receivers do get the slight edge here if I don't have 3 yet in that format. If you have 2 running backs already, though, I don't want to be drafting a third in round 5. Take the best wide receiver available. There's some really great values in round 5, including guys like Jerry Jeudy, Terry McLaurin, depending upon what we hear about with his turf toe injury, Mike Williams, Christian Watson as well. Really great picks there, and honestly, just take the best wide receiver on the board for you. Whichever guy you have the highest have as the highest ranked in your rankings is going to be the guy that you should be taking in round 5 here, in my opinion. So in round 6, if you don't have a tight end yet, this is the point where I would definitely be taking Dallas Goedert. I think he's just a rock-solid tight end 1 for you guys this season. He's probably going to finish inside the top 5, and I personally got him ranked as my 3rd overall tight end right now. Otherwise, you're definitely just going to punt at the tight end position, take 2 later on in the draft. There's not really any tight ends that I really feel like I want to spend like a later middle round pick on. I'd just rather take guys much later that I think have upside. If you don't have a quarterback at this point yet, I would lean towards taking Trevor Lawrence if he somehow makes it to you. He generally goes pretty significantly before this pick, but you do have a shot at getting him in the front end of round 6, so take a look for him if you don't have a quarterback yet. He's definitely the guy I'm targeting. Again, with the quarterback position here, if you haven't taken one at this point in round 6, you're probably just going to punt in the position, take 2, take a guy like Kirk Cousins, then take a high upside guy, and just take your chances at the quarterback position throughout the course of the season. If you only have one running back at this point, I would reach and take David Montgomery here. He goes generally towards like the end of round 7, so it's a bit of a reach here, but I still really love the value of David Montgomery here. He's going to be a rock-solid running back too for you guys, and if you have to reach a little bit just to make sure that you get him, I definitely would do that. If you have 2 running backs, though, I would play the ADP game. Like I said, I'm really targeting David Montgomery in round 7. He's almost a guy that I'm going into all of my drafts, just pretty much intending to draft in round 7. But I would play the ADP game here, try and wait to get him in round 7, and take the best wide receiver available for yourself. Guys like Tyler Lockett, who is even more valuable now, and with the injury update coming out about JSN, he's likely probably not going to be ready for week 1 with that wrist injury that's going to sideline him for a few weeks. Brandon Ayuk's another really great pick. Mike Evans, Marquise Brown, Christian Kirk, plenty of good wide receivers here in round 6, and I would just take the best one available. Next, finally, we've got round 7. This is where I would definitely be prioritizing David Montgomery. He's a guy that I really do think is going to finish as a high-end running back 2 this season. I love the floor he's going to have, and he's got a really high ceiling if something happened to Jahmyr Gibbs. If he is gone, unfortunately, then you should just take the best wide receiver available here. There's just a really huge tier break at the running back position after David Montgomery, and I don't want to be the first team to take one of those guys. Guys like Tyler Lockett, Brandon Ayuk, Marquise Brown, Deontay Johnson, Mike Evans, all of them are really great picks here in round 7. If somehow all of these players are gone, then I think in round 7 it's a perfectly acceptable time to start reaching on players. A couple of my favorite reaches to make in round 7 would be guys like Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers. Jordan Addison had been my highest ranked rookie wide receiver so far, and I believe he still is, but Zay Flowers is rapidly climbing up my rankings. I'll be putting out an updated ranking sheet as well. Probably tonight, so stay tuned for that. I'll be sure to update you all of you guys once I've got my rankings up to date with all the preseason action, but it's going to be really exciting. So, yeah, that's what I'll do here in round 7, though. Sorry to get sidetracked a little bit. So, to recap, after the first 7 rounds, you should be leaving with at least 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs. You should only have those 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs, and then a quarterback and a tight end, if you can get values at the quarterback and tight end positions. At quarterback, you should be prioritizing drafting one of the tier 1 quarterbacks in round 3 if they happen to make it to you. You can also take Justin Herbert in round 4, a guy who I have really high expectations for, and even though it's a bit of a reach in round 4, I think he's going to be a perfectly quality draft pick. You can also target Trevor Lawrence in round 6, a guy who's really going to have probably a breakout season here, and definitely I love targeting in round 6. At the tight end position, I think you should be drafting either Travis Kelce in round 1, Mark Andrews in the 3rd round, or Dallas Goedert in the 6th. For the quarterback and tight end positions after the first 7 rounds, I'm probably drafting 2 of each. if I have not drafted a quarterback at that point. I just want to make sure that I'm really doubling up. At quarterback, I would take a low floor guy and a high ceiling guy along with a relatively safe draft pick. So I'm normally pairing a guy like Kirk Cousins with someone like Anthony Richardson or someone like Kyler Murray. At tight end, I would just take 2 upside shots, take guys like Luke Musgrave, Gerald Everett, stuff like that. And then after round 7 as well, I just want to be targeting as many high-quality upside picks at the wide receiver and running back positions. You've pretty much drafted your starting lineup already, and it's okay to go for some depth, go for some floor plays after round 7. But in general, we want to be drafting guys that are going to make a real difference for our rosters. I would like to be taking high-end handcuff backup running backs, guys like Tyler Algier, Tank Bigsby, Elijah Mitchell, taking a Dolphins running back if you want. Wide receiver, I also like targeting youth, targeting rookies or second-year players that could break out, and really just trying to give my bench as much upside as possible, because on your bench, you're going to be cycling through those players. You're really just going to be taking upside shots throughout the entire course of the season, and the best thing you can do is just make sure that you keep taking as many shots as possible on guys that can actually crack your starting lineup and really impact the quality of your team. So that'll do it for the optimal draft strategy with picks 7 through 9 in a 12-team PPR snake draft. Up next, I'll be doing the optimal draft strategy with picks 10 through 12. So if that's your draft slot again, please stay tuned for that. If you want to make sure you don't miss the video, it'll come out tomorrow, but please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the notification bells to get notifications when more videos come out. There will be a video every single day throughout the course of the rest of the offseason. We're putting out several videos a week throughout the course of the regular season as well, and I'm going to be here all season long to help you guys win your leagues. So let me help you do that. Just subscribe to the channel, stick around. Would really love to have you as a part of the community. If you've already subscribed, please do just like the video as well if you've made it this far. I really hope that these are helping you out, and if they are, I'd appreciate the like. It really helps with the algorithm, really helps me know that I'm doing a good job as well, and just helps me know that you guys want to keep seeing content like this. So yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, check out these other videos here if you haven't. If you want more content, please feel free to follow me on Twitter at RealSteelFFB. I'll be more active on there as the season goes on. Thanks. Catch you later.